Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I grew up in a fairly quiet town called Birmingham, Michigan, and wasn't a lot of crime there. But I remember a story from when I was in high school. And there was a store in town that was a clothing store. And they used to routinely hire kids to work there, high school kids. And some of the kids noticed that they had a very lax return policy. And that is, you could walk into the store with something and go, I bought this a week ago, I don't have the receipt, but I want to return it. They go, oh, as long as it's in saleable condition, we'll do that. So what you would do, if you were a ne'er-do-well in this town, is you'd wait till your friend was working in that store, and you'd come in on a quiet day when your friend is working, pick up something off the shelf, walk to the counter and go, I bought this a week ago and it doesn't fit me. I want to return it now for a full refund. And your friend would go, do you have the receipt? You go, no, I don't, I'm sorry. Oh, well, it's okay, we'll fill out this no receipt refund. And people were doing that. And it got to the point where the management finally noticed that they were having huge losses that didn't correspond with their sales. Somehow nothing made sense mathematically. And some people got arrested for that. It turns out that's illegal. Now, that might not be news to you, but apparently it was news to a couple people in Florida. So Trocon sent me notes that Steve, check the story out of Florida. Two accused of defrauding $47,000 from Lowe's stores in refund scheme across 8 Florida counties. Lowe's, L-O-W-E, apostrophe S, Lowe's, the home improvement store. Rachel Tucker wrote this for WFLA television. 2 men are accused of stealing from Florida Lowe's home improvement stores in an 8-county crime spree. The Attorney General of the state said the 2 men were arrested on outstanding warrants in Sarasota County and charged with both grand theft and scheme to defraud. Grand theft and scheme to defraud. So grand theft, of course, is stealing stuff above a certain amount. And the scheme to defraud is presumably working out some way where you're attempting to steal stuff and you take steps, okay? And that's the important part. People often ask me, they say, Steve, suppose that me and my friends sit around like joking about how we would, rob a bank or something. Is that illegal? Would that be conspiracy? Well, you have to usually take some kind of steps in that direction to indicate that it's actually something you're going to do or intending to do, as opposed to just batting ideas around after watching a movie like, I don't know, Who's Minding the Mint? Organized retail theft hurts consumers as stores must account for losses when pricing items. But we are fighting back, and this is the latest case in just another example of my office working with law enforcement to stop criminals targeting stores across the state. And again, that is the Attorney General of the state of Florida. My statewide prosecutors will ensure this criminal organization faces justice for their rampant crime spree. So it's 2 guys, but it is a criminal organization. And I'm not making fun of that. I've had people say, Steve, I heard somebody say that they thought this one thing was a conspiracy. How could it be a conspiracy? That would involve too many people. Well, a conspiracy by definition is 2 or more people getting together and conspiring to do something. And so 2 people would qualify if, in fact, they got together and did this. So are they a criminal organization? Well, it's a small organization, more of a mom and pop type organization, although I don't think that's how they're related here. But they apparently had a rampant crime spree. And here's what happened, okay? The AG's office says the 2 men would purchase items and obtain a receipt before traveling to another store. So they go into one Lowe's store and buy some stuff and they leave. Then they'd gather up the same items from inside another store and attempt to return them and repeat that process through multiple stores. Now, there seems to be one little bit of a problem here. I've returned stuff to Home Depot. And I'm not sure if their process is exactly the same, but I've been places before where I brought something in for a return. I showed them the receipt, they give me the money, and they give me my receipt back. Now, if I've got the receipt, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it, other than it's a record of something that I did buy, that I did return. But I would also think that the store would track that. Wouldn't the store track the fact that this receipt has been undone? I mean, can't computers do that these days? Or am I asking too much of a computer? The Attorney General's office said the duo racked up a total of $47,000 in losses that they know of in Charlotte, Collier, Hillsborough, Lee, Orange, Sarasota, Seminole, and Volusia counties. And that's not the order in which they did them, I suspect. That's just alphabetically. Charlotte, Collier, Hillsborough, Lee, Orange, Sarasota, Seminole, and Volusia. The alleged stolen items include windows, doors, and flooring. Now, this is the part that got to me. Because if someone was doing this scheme, you think about this. You go to a store, you buy some stuff, you leave. You then go to other stores and go inside, but pick up stuff that matches what you bought and is on your receipt. Okay? You go in, pick up the same items that you bought previously, and you bring them up to the return counter and go, oh, I bought these 3 days ago, and they don't suit my needs. And you show them the receipt. And they say, oh, okay, and they give you your money back. Now, interestingly, you just broke even if that's the first time you did that, because you bought the stuff and you put the money out at store number one. Store number two, you just got your money back. So as the enterprise goes or the organization goes, you just broke even. But you now go into another store and do the exact same thing. But as anybody with a brain cell that operates would know, there are security cameras throughout these stores. Now, it might be that you can walk into the store and pick up stuff and walk around with it and not raise too much attention. However, once somebody figures out what's going on, they can go back and check the tapes, and there'll be all these tapes showing. You came inside, picked up some stuff, and then went to the return counter. So this plan can only work for so long, I would think. Now, they got away with it apparently in 8 different counties. We don't know if that's 8 different times they did this or if they did it several times in each county. We don't know that. But they picked up windows, doors, and flooring. Now, I would have thought you'd pick up expensive stuff, but smaller and easier to handle. Because obviously, if you got doors, windows, and flooring, you can't just put those underneath your arm and walk out with them. So presumably you got to get one of those big carts and load it up with stuff and then somehow bring it around and make it look like you brought it into the store. I mean, I'm not trying to give people tips on how to do this, but that part just jumped out at me, that the alleged stolen items included windows, doors, and flooring. I would have thought there'd be power tools or something you could pick up. But again, now the Attorney General's Office of Statewide Prosecution has charged both men with grand theft over $20,000 and organized scheme to defraud over $20,000, which are both second-degree felonies in the state of Florida. So that's what's going on there. Hopefully, if these guys did this, then they'll have to, either go to trial, be punished, or plead and take care of it that way. But this is something you hear about all the time. I know years ago, I did a story about a guy down in Florida, someplace in the Keys, who was doing this, I think, at Walmart or a Target, but more of a store that sells all kinds of stuff. And people get caught doing this, and so some stores are laid out funny, and so if you look at like a Home Depot, there's often many entrances into the Home Depot where you can go in through the front doors, you can go in through the garden center, you can go in, a lot of different ways that can happen. But it seems odd to me that somebody could walk into a store, load up a cart with windows, doors, and flooring, push it to the front of the store and go, yeah, I just bought this stuff. It no longer suits my needs. But it appears they did it at least 8 times because they were busted for this in 8 counties. And it brings me back to the bigger question, and that is simply when they take the receipt and process it and give the person the money back, don't they track that receipt? I mean, I understand that Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart conduct millions and millions and millions of transactions. And you might say, Steve, tracking that kind of stuff would be a nightmare. Well, couldn't you just number the receipts? and the date of the receipt? I mean, I would assume a computer could keep track of all the receipts issued in one day. So all you got to do is have the receipt have a store code on it. This is store number 47. And the date, today's date, and this is receipt number such and such. So that when the person buys the stuff and leaves with it, when they walk back into any other store, you could scan it and go, oh, it's from this store on this date, receipt this. Okay, this receipt has been refunded. And if you want to give that piece of paper back to the customer, it won't do them any good if they try to do it a second time because you already have a record that it's been done once. I mean, obviously there's something here that I'm missing and I don't know what it is. So if there's somebody out there where this is within the ken of their knowledge, it is at your pay grade, as they say. Please check in below and explain to me why they can't do that. There's got to be some reason why they can't do that. Otherwise, they'd be doing it because there's people at these stores a whole lot smarter than me trying to prevent loss. And it seems like such a simple solution. There's obviously something I'm missing. There must be. So you know what it is? Put it below. If you don't know, that's fine, because I don't know either. So Trocon sent this to me. Thank you very much. But 2 accused of defrauding $47,000 from Lowe's stores in the old refund scheme spanning 8 Florida counties. That's from WFLA. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Opportunities for kindness pop up all over the place. Watch out for them.